I'll never forget the smell. That sickly, metallic odor mixed with something foul, like decayed meat. It was coming from the back room, and I knew I shouldn't have opened the door. But I did. And what I saw inside changed my life forever. But before I tell you how it ended, let me explain how it began. My name is Bola. I'm 25, a hairdresser in Lagos, living in the kind of hustle and chaos only this city can offer. My days are long, spent braiding and weaving hair in my little shop tucked into the corner of Balogun Market. Life is tough, but I get by. About 6 months ago, I met Musa. Everyone called him Oga Musa. He was tall and well-built, with a thick beard and an easy smile. He sold meat at Oingbo Market, and his store was one of the busiest. His prices were low, and his meat was always fresh, too fresh, now that I think about it. Musa was a charmer, especially with women. He would flirt shamelessly, calling me Queen Bola whenever he passed by my shop. At first, I thought nothing of it. Lagos men flirt with every woman they see. But Musa was persistent. He started bringing me snacks and walking me home after work. He said he wanted to marry me, but I laughed it off. Bola, you're special, he'd say. Not like these other Lagos girls. I should have listened to my instincts. Something about his kindness felt too perfect, too calculated. But at the time, I was just happy to have someone paying attention to me. The first warning sign came when my best friend, Ada, went missing. Ada and I had been inseparable since secondary school. She was bold, confident, and beautiful, the kind of girl who lit up every room she walked into. Unlike me, Ada loved adventure. She was always dating someone new, never staying in one place for too long. About a month before she disappeared, Ada started seeing Musa. I warned her that he wasn't serious, but she brushed me off. Bola, relax. It's just for fun, she'd say, laughing. The last time I saw her, she was excited. Musa had promised her some money to start a small business. She was going to his house that evening to collect it. When she didn't come back the next morning, I wasn't too worried. Ada had a habit of staying out late. But by the second day, her phone was switched off, and her family was calling me non-stop. By the third day, I knew something was wrong. I called Musa, and his reaction made my stomach churn. Ada, he said, sounding calm. She left early in the morning. Maybe she's with her other boyfriend. His tone was too casual, too dismissive. I reported her missing at the police station, but they barely listened. She's probably with a man, the officer said, smirking. I left feeling angry and helpless. I couldn't stop thinking about Ada. I started asking around, talking to other women in the market who knew Musa. That's when I learned something chilling. Ada wasn't the first woman to disappear after spending time with him. There was Busy, a fruit seller who had gone missing 2 months earlier. And Amina, a student who had last been seen leaving his store. No one had connected the dots because the women were from different parts of the city. But now, it was all adding up. I confronted Musa one evening after the market closed. His reaction was strange. Instead of getting angry, he smiled and invited me to his house. Come and see for yourself, Bola, he said. I have nothing to hide. Against my better judgment, I went. Musa lived in a small apartment in a crowded neighborhood near the market. The building was old, with peeling paint and a faint smell of dampness. Inside, the place was surprisingly neat. There were no pictures on the walls, just a few pieces of furniture and a television. As we talked, I kept looking around, searching for anything that felt out of place. Musa noticed and laughed. You don't trust me, Bola, he said, leaning back in his chair. I just want to know what happened to Ada, I said, trying to keep my voice steady. I told you, she left, he replied, his tone sharp. I should have left right then, but something made me stay. I asked if I could use his bathroom, and he pointed to a door at the back of the room. That's when I found it. The smell hit me first, a nauseating mix of bleach and something metallic. I opened the door and stepped into the back room. It was dimly lit, with tools and plastic sheets scattered on the floor. In the corner stood a large freezer, the kind you see in butcher shops. My hands trembled as I approached it. I don't know why I opened it, but something inside me needed to know. Inside were pieces of meat, wrapped in plastic and stacked neatly. At first, I thought it was just beef. But then I saw the tattoo on one of the arms. It was Ada's tattoo, the tiny butterfly she got after her 21st birthday. My stomach turned, and I stumbled back, knocking over a table. That's when Musa appeared in the doorway. "What are you doing?" he said, his voice cold. I couldn't speak. I couldn't move. "You shouldn't have come here, Bola," he said, stepping closer. I don't remember how I found the strength to run, but I did. I pushed past him and bolted out of the apartment, screaming for help. The streets were dark, but people came out of their houses when they heard my cries. "He's killing women," I shouted. "He's selling their meat in the market." Within minutes, a crowd had gathered. Musa tried to run, but the mob caught him. Someone called the police, and they arrived just in time to stop the crowd from lynching him. During the investigation, Musa confessed to everything. He had been luring women to his home, killing them, and selling their body parts as special meat in the market. He claimed it was for rituals, that it brought him wealth and success. Ada wasn't his first victim. There were at least 5 others. The news spread quickly, and the entire city was in shock. People who had bought meat from his store were horrified, wondering if they had unknowingly consumed human flesh. Even now, I can't stop thinking about that freezer. I can't eat meat anymore. The thought makes me sick. Musa is in prison, but his face haunts me. They call him the Butcher of Lagos, but to me, he's just a monster who stole my best friend. And Ada. She's gone, but I keep telling her story. People need to know what he did. The weeks following Musa's arrest felt like a fever dream. The entire market was in uproar, and the news spread across Lagos like wildfire. It was the kind of story that left everyone unsettled. A trusted member of the community, someone who smiled at everyone, had been hiding something so horrific. People avoided the market for days. Even those who didn't shop at Musa's store started questioning every piece of meat they bought. The market, usually loud and bustling, became eerily quiet. Vendors whispered to each other in low voices, customers came and left quickly, and you could see the unease on everyone's faces. For me, though, it wasn't just unease, it was guilt. I kept replaying the moment I'd spent with Musa. The times he walked me home, the times he sat in my shop laughing and talking like a normal person. How could I not have seen it? How did I not sense the darkness lurking beneath that smile? Ada's family was devastated. Her mother wailed when I told her what had happened, clutching her chest like the pain was too much to bear. She was my only daughter, she cried. How could this happen? At the funeral, people avoided looking at me. Some whispered that I should have done something sooner, that I should have stopped Ada from going to Musa's house. Others blamed the police for not taking her disappearance seriously. But the person I blamed most was myself. When Musa's trial began, the whole city was watching. The courtroom was packed every day, with people spilling out into the corridors and even standing outside, hoping to catch a glimpse of the man who had turned their lives upside down. I attended every session, even though it felt like a punishment. I needed to see him face justice, to hear the truth from his own mouth. But sitting there, listening to the gruesome details of his crimes, was like living through a nightmare. The prosecution painted a chilling picture of a man who had carefully planned every murder. Musa would target women who were struggling financially, luring them with promises of money or business opportunities. Once they were in his home, he would drug them, kill them, and dismember their bodies. One of the most horrifying revelations was that he didn't work alone. There were whispers of a larger network, buyers who paid him for specific parts, claiming they were for rituals to bring wealth and power. The police arrested a few others linked to the case, but most of the buyers remain unidentified. When Musa was asked why he did it, his answer sent chills through the courtroom. "I was born to suffer," he said, his voice flat. "This was the only way to escape poverty. They wanted the meat, and I gave it to them." The judge didn't waste time. Musa was sentenced to death, and though it brought some relief, it didn't feel like enough. Ada was gone. The other victims were gone. Nothing could bring them back. The community struggled to move on. For weeks, people avoided the market entirely, forcing many vendors to relocate or shut down. Those who did return found themselves under constant scrutiny. Customers would demand to see the meat being butchered, some even bringing their own knives to cut it themselves. Rumors swirled about who might have known about Musa's crimes. Some people claimed his neighbors must have heard something, cries for help, the sound of a sword, but were too scared to speak up. Others accused his fellow vendors of turning a blind eye to the unusually low prices he offered. No one trusted anyone anymore. For me, life became a cycle of nightmares and regret. I stopped going to the market entirely. My shop was my only connection to the outside world, but even there, I couldn't escape the whispers. "That's Bola," they'd say. She was close to him. Some people blamed me outright, saying I must have known what Musa was doing. Others treated me like a victim, but their pity felt just as heavy as their accusations. The only thing that kept me going was the promise I made to Ada's mother. "I'll make sure no one forgets her," I told her at the funeral. I keep telling her story. Months passed, and slowly, the community began to heal. A group of women from the market organized a vigil for the victims, lighting candles and saying prayers for their souls. It was a small gesture, but it brought a sense of unity back to the market. I started speaking to young women about safety and trust, warning them to be careful who they allowed into their lives. At first, it felt like shouting into the void, but gradually, people began to listen. The market vendors started a tradition of checking in on each other, ensuring no one disappeared without someone noticing. They created a system where every vendor had a buddy who would call or visit if they didn't see them for a day. It wasn't much, but it was a start. When the day of Musa's execution came, I didn't attend. I thought I might feel relief knowing he was gone, but all I felt was emptiness. Killing him wouldn't bring back Ada or the other women. I visited Ada's grave that day instead. I sat there for hours, talking to her like she could hear me. "I'm sorry," I whispered. "I should have done more. I should have stopped him." The wind rustled through the trees, and for a moment, I thought I felt her presence. It's been 2 years now. The market is back to its noisy, chaotic self, and people no longer whisper when they see me. I've reopened my shop, but I've changed. I'm more cautious, more guarded. I still can't eat meat, and I probably never will. But I found a new purpose in telling Ada's story. I visit schools and community centers, sharing what happened to warn young women about the dangers of trusting too easily. Ada's memory lives on in those stories. She may be gone, but she'll never be forgotten. And as for Musa, he's just a name now, a dark chapter in Lagos's history. But the lessons we learned from his crimes will stay with us forever.
Did you enjoy the story? If you did, please give us a like and subscribe to our channel. Don't forget to comment, let us know what you think about this story, and stay tuned for more videos. Thank you.